Hey there, I've been playing a ton of the new Zelda game that just came out, and I wanted to try to make some cute Korok themed trinket trays using these terracotta plant pot holders. So these are really fun because you can get them for like $1.50 from a gardening center or a Walmart, and I just use these cheap acrylic paints to cover them in a nice off-white color as a base for the trinket tray. So for the actual sculptural parts of these trinket trays, I just used your original garden variety Sculpey here. I think this was maybe $5.99 at Walmart. So it's very affordable and very easy to use. Something about this variety of Sculpey that I have found and I have seen others talk about online in crafting forums is that it gets a little too malleable when it gets really warm. So basically, if you overhandle this variety of Sculpey, it tends to not turn into mush, but it gets really sticky and difficult to handle. So my goal using the Sculpey is always to handle it minimally. Here I'm just making all of the bits and bobs that I wanted to model from the game. I tried to choose things that were relatively low spoiler because I didn't want to accidentally spoil anyone who might see images of the trays that I posted or even anyone watching this video. So I chose the little Koroks who are carrying backpacks that are far too big for them, and the ゚Pad, so those are the rounded rectangles in the upper right. I also really enjoy the Zonai color schemes, the Zonai architecture, the way the constructs are built, so I will incorporate that as well. And I also made these sky shrooms because I am a lover of all things mushroom and I found them to be particularly adorable. Here is where I discovered that Koroks are approximately shaped like a packing peanut. As I said, I really enjoy the Zonai architecture, and I am especially drawn to the turquoise stone mosaic pattern that is used in the Zonai constructs. So I wanted to add some elements of that to the trinket tray using these really small rectangular and square and triangular pieces that I was planning on painting turquoise. So once everything was done baking in the oven, it was time to paint. When I use this white Sculpey for projects, I tend to use a combination of my Maya Himi gouache set and just a set of acrylics that I have from a craft store. The reason that I like to combine the gouache and the acrylic is that the acrylic alone, because it is rather inexpensive, isn't really pigmented, so it takes me a lot of coats to really fully cover up the white Sculpey underneath. But if I mix it with the gouache paint, which is really heavily pigmented, it kind of solves this problem. I have also found that I can't just use gouache by itself, because at the end of this process, when I seal up the clay piece with UV resin or with polyacrylic, which I'll be using in this case, it tends to cause gouache to run because gouache will get reactivated by liquids and water. I really love the color of the sky islands, really specifically that they have this golden-rod, golden yellow grass and leaves all throughout. So I wanted to make the base of this tray reminiscent of some of those sky islands and the paver tiles on them. So it was here that I realized that each of these small pieces of clay were going to be really difficult to place by hand. So I started just using some tweezers and clear tacky glue and dipping the back of each of the clay pieces in the glue before placing them with the tweezers. And this made it a lot easier to place the individual pieces. And this is what the base of the tray looked like after that process. I was so pleased with the dimension and texture that this added, which I thought some of the trays I had made in the past really lacked. Here are the final pieces, all finished and painted, which I glued on using some E600 glue. And here is the final step of making this Korok trinket tray. And that is the application of 4 to 5 layers of polyacrylic on the top and on the bottom. This is the final result. I'm super pleased with how this trinket tray turned out, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so that hopefully we can see each other next time.